EMC is a fabulous example. EMC has internal blogs, they have external blogs. My friend's actually in charge of the whole project, and they adopted on early, and they got some great innovations because the employers were willing to be critical and willing to say, well, you know, how about doing this from inside? And they were getting ideas, and their top management has brought in to sharing these ideas internally and being public. A lot of people don't want to give employees a voice because what if they say we all suck? You know, I mean, but some people can say that. But their experience has been very constructive. And external blogging, Kodak has they have a chief blogger, and she has a blog where employees can put up photos they've taken and write stories about why they took the photo, and it's been a very popular blog to bring business. People are finding this blog and finding Kodak's blog, and it's focused on the employees' stories. Oh, huge. They want to, I think the woman from Kodak talked about this at BlogHer, and you know, they wanted to like approve everything they wrote, but you know, they can't do that. They can't do that. I mean, it just doesn't work if you curtail what a person writes. So some more trends that are going on. We're going to see more work-at-home employees because employers are going to finally get that it costs too much money to run office space, and people are more productive. There are studies that people are more productive at home. You save that extra 2 hours, which will benefit our communities. It will be a great thing. What? Well, one of the things they look at is that you focus on output, not face-to-face contact. You focus on, okay, you need to get this report done by Friday. If the report's not done by Friday, you know, it doesn't care how many coffee breaks they took, but if the report's not done by Friday, you know it wasn't done. I'm going to convince you more. It's going to be a cost factor. It's going to come down to cost. The cost of the suburban office buildings are going to go first. Okay, this is my real estate background talking right now. Because if I can work from home, why do I need this big suburban thing in my area, and why are we going to pay for it? Downtown, you still need to be downtown for certain things. It's still a hub. It's still something going on. But I think that it's going to change. I mean, you can find it. I've got some charts. Okay, we're going to keep going. I'll just go quickly. This is just a chart we did from our 2006 and 2008 studies about networking. This is businesswomen networking. The orange is the boomers, and email has even eclipsed for boomers. But when you look down here, Facebook, and this is business networking. Facebook for Gen Y is up there. So it's LinkedIn and Facebook and email. Gen Y has a life. Okay, so here's some cultural effects that are going to roll out of these. We are becoming a lease instead of an owned society. We are now seeing that literally on the real estate situation. But part of this is the eBay effect. Even if we buy a luxury good, we know we can resell it on eBay. So do you really own it, or are you just really leasing it for a time before you resell it to somebody else? We have sophisticated shoppers. I never buy anything. I never pay retail. Why would I pay retail when I can get a discount code online? I can go to Ebates and get a rebate. Rue La La is a new online sample sales. Shopatome.com surfs all the webs for sales and sends me all the sales. So I never pay full price. We did another study with the Downtown Women's Club about online shopping, and only one department store managed to stay on the list of the top 10 shops or places people would shop for all three generations, and that was Nordstrom's. And that is because their online and in-person is seamless. You can buy something online, return it to them in person. They've got it. And we can see by the Macy's and everybody else closing that they just don't get it. So, not to knock anyone who works for Macy's, but they're all closing. And working at home is going to change suburbia. So the suburbs, a lot of this I take from this great book by William Draves and Julia Coates called Nine Shift, and it talks about the 9 shifts our society is going through right now. As we go from the industrial age into the innovation age or information age, 75% of everything we do is going to change between the year 2000 and 2020, and this is thanks to computers. 100 years ago, we watched this happen with the invention of the car. And that changed how farming worked, and then everyone moved to the cities, and we had manufacturing and stuff like that, and it was disrupting. We had a Great Depression, we had all this different things going on. It's very disrupting, and we're in this stage. But how it will change, the working at home, if more people work at home, then they're more involved in the communities again. We got away from the communities. Under the baby boomers, we built these McMansions in these towns with no sidewalks where you get in your car without ever leaving your house because your huge 4-car garage is attached to your house, and you drive your car to your downtown office building, park it in the garage there. You never have to see your neighbors, so they don't know that you didn't go to town meeting, you didn't vote. They can't call you on it, you don't have to face them. So in the new type of what we're going to see with suburbia is going to be around modal transportation. I'm not going to get into the decline of the car industry because it's way more stuff going on there. But light rail is going to be very important, and people are going to cluster housing. What you see down here, we don't see where my parents live now around the Grosvenor Station, you know, and where I grew up in Columbia, Maryland. That's what you're going to see, but you didn't see it in New England. You didn't see it in some of these other parts of the world. You're going to see more of that. People want to live clustered housing together because if they can't get together at the office, they still want to be, we're still social people. That whole bowling alone story, we don't want to go bowling alone. We want to have friends. And so that's how we're going to see working homes going to improve suburbia, and it's going to change how we know it. So this is, I was talking about William Draves, the 9 shaft. I jumped ahead of myself. The auto industry, the same thing. It just changed how we did things in such a drastic way. So here was one of his charts I borrowed from one of his talk with us. And if you look now, we are in the crisis and conflict where companies hadn't adjusted. And so by probably 2015, we're going to see more people working at home than not. We're going to see, and with working at home, actually we expect to see some gender pay equity, because if it's not valued on face time, then it's on output. Who cares, you know, what you look like or who you're dealing with. So that's where we're going to see a little bit of change there. The good news for girls in Gen Y, because you grew up with these skills, sorry guys, and the reason we'll say for the women is we will see some gender equity here. It's if you look at the young girls are using computers, it's for the creativity, it's for the entertainment, it's communications, it plays to their traditional types of skills. It's not computer programming necessarily, it's communicating with computers. 100 years ago when we watched this last shift with all the chaos and turmoil that went on, that's right after that, women got the vote, women got the right to drive, women went to college in more droves, and so women really did pretty well after the last big crisis and conflict. Bad news for boomers, but only those who don't want to get on board, those who don't want to test out these new things that are going on and want to accept this. And my one prediction I'll make for the future, what happens when the parents take over the playground, which is Facebook? In the last month, I have had more of my peers get on Facebook. I've reconnected, I think, of my high school class, of the 140 of us, there's 70 I'm connected to. So I think everyone's getting on to test it out. And one of the theories about why they're doing this, I think, is one is a little bit about the recession. I think we're all staying home more, and we still want to connect, and so it's a way to socialize and still stay home. So I think the economic situation is forcing people to look for other ways to connect and socialize. I also think for those in my group, which is the 40-somethings that are jumping on, when we look back to when we were in high school, because I thought it was very strange that I'm not connecting with my college friends. It's mostly my high school friends, and even friends that I don't even know them from high school barely, and I'm still connected with them. I think we're going back to a time when I was in the early 80s in high school. It was a pretty good time in America. It was really exciting. I mean, women were, you know, going up in the Challenger. I mean, it was like, there was a lot of things. The Berlin Wall was about to come down. I mean, there was a lot of really, we felt safe back then, and a lot of us don't feel safe now. So we are reconnecting with people from that era in our lives. And from a business sense, I hear from people, well, I don't want to reconnect with people I know from my past because I don't want to get business. I'm like, you know what? I don't have to talk about the Downtown Women's Club to get these people that knew me from way back and trust me to sign up and do things for the Downtown Women's Club. I don't think I've ever mentioned it to anyone from high school yet. I had people from high school show up to see me speak last night and want to be part of my company and do different things with me. So I think it is a good way to network with people and meet people. And so what are the kids going to do when they leave Facebook? And I'm looking younger than your group. You're probably sticking with us on Facebook. But I look at my son and what he does. He is absolutely used to having a red penguin represent him on Club Penguin, or a Toontown character represent him on Toontown, a cartoon character. So he'll be very comfortable in a world where people are represented by avatars. And this is Second Life, which is an interesting thing. And I went on there because I had to learn about that because I had to teach a class on Second Life. And while it's still clunky and not here yet, it will be some version of that. The downside of that is the anonymity. And that is the downside of the internet that I actually think Facebook and Twitter correct by not letting you be anonymous. You have to stand by your comments or you'll get thrown off of these things. So I do think that's a dangerous precedent about what's coming next with the having yourself represented by an avatar that may or may not be you and allowing you the freedom to behave as one's would. So that, unfortunately, is the downside of it. And I think we'd have to figure out ways to monitor that as I go through.